Good evening and welcome back to Brands Hatch, the Indy circuit for the ninth round, second race, so technically the 18th race of the season, and it's reverse grid time. We saw Fisichella take out P10 and the BMWs finishing just ahead of him, so they are clearing out the top three positions there with Schneider second, Jimmy Webber third. We can only assume that these are going to get a dive off the line, whilst the rest of the front wheel drive start to fall back a little bit further. And it's kind of BMW knew their place in race one. I couldn't see that being a deliberate ploy to be at the front of the field at all there. It was a very busy but quiet race one. Alongside me, returning from the Urban Tools Mazda Garage, Michael Swinnerton. Welcome back.
Hello, hello.
And obviously, any extra info about your team and what changes you had to make?
Changes have been very minimal. Anthony was actually pretty happy with the car, hence why he was able to move forwards. And given that we are on the outside row of the grid there, in theory, that could help mitigate our front-wheel drive start, but we shall have to remain to see that.
Another 21 laps to go late into the sunshine around Kent. And off the line, not too much of a runaway for the top three. Webber down the inside of Schneider, Nicky Lammers and Carlos Polo going side by side through paddock. The traffic jam through Druids once again. Everyone being very well behaved. Tamiya Honda ahead of the well behaved, and then all of a sudden a BMW outside of Graham Hill Bend running off, and Carlos Polo looking to capitalise already down the inside almost. Thought that was going to be a change for position. There's Suarez 7th. We just saw Dumas still maintaining 6th place, but Suarez looked to be around the outside of the Frenchman. There we go, and Thompson's also got ahead of Dumas too. Better power out of the Clearways Clark Curve complex. Lap 2 commences. Away goes Fisichella, bit of a gap. Clouds looking ominous, but we know that there's no rain to be seen today. It's not going to happen.
Suarez missed the apex going into Paddock Hill Bend there. That's allowed Thompson to get right up on the back of him. He had a little look down the inside, got into the quarter panel of the Golf and thought better out of it and backed out of it. Meanwhile, you've got two Alfa Romeos going side by side here, just doing the Alfa Romeo Top Gear trick at Rockingham when they did that track day look. Just physically block the whole track and nobody can get past.
All that's missing is the third car, but that is eyes on the prize at the front of the field. But this is a Toyota tandem behind those two Alphas in the midfield. First flying lap, Fisichella with the fastest lap. No one else near it. Of course, traffic jams once again. There goes Ingram around the outside of Butcher.
Well, he's got Butcher on his inside. He had a look at E-Day and it didn't quite work, and he's lost a place because of it.
As he starts to fan out.
Neat and tidy through the corner, though. It might be smarter for Ingram at this point just to let... Never mind. I was going to say just to let the Toyota squabble amongst themselves, but Ingram determined to get stuck in there. Japanese car
Butcher,
brand honours.
Butcher definitely with the track experience. E-Day with last year's experience around here in the same car. Nothing has improved, hence the change of plan for next season.
Making it work by the looks of things. He's gotten around one Toyota, now finds a Ford in front of him instead of a Toyota.
E-Day got ahead of Salo there.
But that's dive bomb. He's gone wide. That's the rallycross route. That's not going to help.
And Ingram now falling back behind Kamish.
So much for making that move stick. Apparently, Butcher said, "I don't think so."
You were right to think that let the Toyotas battle amongst themselves, and this is the exact opposite result.
Yes, considering Ingram now has a pair of angry Tamiya Hondas behind him who smell blood. Ingram needs to get himself rallied and get back onto it, because we know we're quicker than the Ford in front. We just need to prove it all over again.
And speaking of the Tamiya Hondas, they're running line astern as well, battling amongst themselves. We did not expect to see Kobayashi with a race win flag on his car, put it that way. That was very early doors, bit of a shock. Evidence that it was flash in the pan, because he's still in the midst of the privateer runners at the back of the pack, with the surprise, if not too surprising, lack of Renault improvements either. Fisichella lead, Schneider second, Webber third, so they are unchanged. Palou unchanged, but determined.
Dangerous here on Webber here. He looks like he wants a podium position. He wants to copy Salo.
So Palou didn't have the best of luck in race 1. I think the strategy might have swapped for race 2 between both of them. It would have been nice if they kind of gave the Salo effort to Palou and not have it reversed, but maybe that's where it's fallen in favour of Palou.
Well, I think that's why Palou's giving it a go on Webber here. He wants to prove that it's a Ford as a whole have picked up the pace, and as is evident, as he's just set the fastest lap of the race.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he wants to prove that it's a team effort rather than Salo has got a grip on the car and he doesn't.
Salo's just fallen out of the top 10 since the win. We've seen it so many times before with other drivers. And these two having a battle.
That's a bit of a shoulder barge.
Different teams, but I'm sure the message would be being sent to the DHL team to start behaving. Otherwise, you won't get this car again next year, perhaps.
I mean, they bought it. What they do with it is their own prerogative.
Okay, we won't sell you one if you do that again.
Yeah, we won't sell you any more parts. There we go. Now they've calmed down.
The top 10. Ingram around the outside of Salo, perhaps.
Had a look. Wants to get a better run through the corner by the looks of things. I think Salo went a little bit overly defensive, a little unnecessarily so, perhaps.
For those worried about any blue flag incidents later on, we are now 1/3 into the race, and it's almost just over 1/3 of the circuit that the spread of the cars is present at, almost halfway along. So once again, hopefully, no black flag or blue flag, or even unspoken behaviour flag incidents.
Oh.
Speaking of,
that was not the desired outcome there. I think Ingram just wanted to do a little NASCAR-style bomb draft on Salo and push the both of them down the start-finish straight so they could have a go at E-Day, which Salo does anyways in quite a rough fashion. Sent it into the back bumper of the Toyota and pushed his way past.
both who were on board
And
with
Ingram!
rookies. Okay.
Saw the gap, had the momentum, went for it. Whether that will be allowed by the stewards, seeing as he had all four wheels over the white line, remains to be seen, but he's going to make it a 2-for-1 offer, getting on the inside of clearways.
Who knew the grass feed had so much grip, especially on the exit of Graham Hill? Momentum now in Ingram's favour as he starts to hone in on the Inter-Alpha battle.
Yeah, he's going to want to overtake Dumas for privateer honours at the very least. Though Dumas has decided to make that a little bit difficult, seeing as he's just had a dive. Well, he made a dive on Whitman there and made it stick into Druids.
And Wittmann wasn't going to get that back at Graham Hill.
No, she needs to be careful now because there's an angry Mazda behind her that apparently has got the red mist on at the moment.
I wonder if that red mist at the Red Bull Ring in the U was he's known how to sort of hone that to perfection rather than be angry because he got hit into. Hopefully, he doesn't take that. That might have been the reason why he kind of felt the need to nudge Salo. He saw another Ford and thought, "No, I'm not having that again."
Maybe. I feel like Anthony's a bit more of a shrewd driver. I think he was more thinking, hey, if me and this other front-wheel drive car work together a little bit. Oh!
No, we've seen Indy be punished for stuff like that before, but thankfully, Ingram's still in the lead position as Salo now gets ahead of Indy and Butcher right behind him.
Yeah, Ide has a habit of being aggressive, and there's nothing wrong with being an aggressive driver, mind you. Ide just has a tendency to be aggressive just at the wrong points of the track. Because as you said, we've seen moments like that from him before.
Smart enough to let his teammate by at that point, but not willing to give it up fully. Okay, maybe he has now. And Ingram down the inside of Duma.
Yeah, just covering off the apex there, making sure the move sticks, and he doesn't get another rear-wheel drive car in his quarter panel when he doesn't want it.
So clearly Irwin towards Mazda momentum from race 1, self-evident here. More positions to be gained with 10 to go. 9.5 to go. 9 to go.
And I'm out of laps. Yeah, we worked on making sure the car was good in race trim over qualifying trim, and that's definitely paying off now.
So unlike race 1 where Salo was just gone and not forgotten, Webber now with the fastest lap and still third, but P1 is starting to have its gap eroded by Webber's teammates. Sophia Schneider through McLaren they go. Clearways, Clark Curve to complete that particular lap. So I think Schneider might be on for a fastest lap here.
So not quite.
Okay, maybe not. Webber's not got that either, but something has stirred in the midfield to the back of the pack because the leader, with 8 to go, there is a potential blue flag incident waiting to happen. Here's the midfield. Wittmann now clear of Duma and has a Ingram Mazda closing in on it.
Though Wittmann, once again, just like last race, is staring at the back of Jason Thompson, wondering how on earth does she get past.
Just like the battle for P2. And this looks like the Ingram Mazda could try and resolve that for both of them. That's going to give Wittmann the big hurry up, but here's some Mazda power for a change.
He got the momentum. That was what we call the Matt Neal line going through clearways, where you slow in, fast out it, and you get good momentum going down the start-finish straight. It's something I've certainly tried to emulate from the venerable touring car driver.
Talks, did you get a bit more horsepower out of them for this weekend?
Yeah, if only.
That looked very good.
That was all momentum, that move.
Duma and Wittmann's battle is back on. For the... Oh, and the sun's coming out. Okay, that's good. And there's Butcher down the inside of Salo.
Still
Duma
and
Wittmann have been joined by the hip throughout this race.
Apparently these guys think it's a Scalextrics track.
I tried to find those grooves in the track before. We'll have to have a check later again, I think. There's Thompson. Ingram closing in now, having gone ahead of both of the Alphas now.
Started 14th, is now 8th. So similar progress as he made in race 1, going from 20th to 14th. Just picking off the cars and making up the positions one by one, despite Toyota's best efforts to sabotage that.
We just saw Thompson's teammate Lammers being still close to Suarez but gaining nothing. Here's the top 4, and well, there was the top 4. We're back in the midfield again. Is that move going to be on for these two? Whilst I'm looking at that, I'm looking at a track mark. I'm thinking the blue flags are out for the guy in last, because there's Fisichella, there's Webber, sorry,
Yeah.
Schneider.
They
and
are
we're going to see
they are catching
the
traffic.
Shade
It's a
and
Renault.
This is not going to look good at all for McGann morale.
I think that Renault's main problem, which might be why they've been so inconsistent this year, with having some tracks where they are obscenely fast and then some tracks where they can't keep up, is that Renault, I don't think, likes mid-corner rotation. So right where the car gets on the apex and you need the Renault very sensibly getting well out of it and staying off the racing line for Fisichella. Is he going to do it for the BMW? You should. Ooh, that might be a bit questionable. But yes, I think that's why the Renault struggles, is it hits the apex of the corner and just will not rotate like it needs to, which is what's causing this problem.
He's not helping P3 now. I was thinking that was going to be the race win decided for the Alpha. It might decide the podium position if that Ford can't get by the time it gets through the apex of Clark Curve. Yeah, make your mind up.
Oh, it's Gasho.
Renault, Gasho.
There we go. Now he'll back out the throttle and just let the Ford through.
I think that should have happened much sooner, but there's enough of a gap behind. P5 is now so far back that that's pretty much determined the top 4 at least. Not so much the podium, with 3.5 to go. This one's been a bit more lively.
It's been a bit more mixed up, that's for sure.
So Toyota not going to get the best of points.
No, but this is where we're sort of used to seeing them finish, is just outside the top 10, which is probably part of the reason why they've opted to pull the plug on this this racing project and not for moving to the Japanese regional series, because not only do they get to use the car they want, it also means lower costs because they don't have to travel as much, which is a big factor.
There are other world efforts I think they want to focus their attention on. We know what they are. Kobayashi scraping in as long as Rydell manages to get ahead of Kamish, but Kobayashi wants a race of it with his teammate.
Yeah, Honda drag race down the start-finish straight. Who will prevail going into Paddock Hill Bend, and who will get the honour of challenging that Ford in front of them? They still haven't decided. Maybe Druids will work it out.
It would be really good if they both had points, but points nonetheless for one of them.
No, the Druids didn't work it out. Maybe Graham Hill can work it out.
So the leaders are now on the final lap.
There we go. Graham Hill worked it out.
Schneider finally getting the fastest lap. But will that pace... It looks like that pace isn't enough for this final lap. And I'll say it again, unless something stupid happens. Fisichella, another lights to flag.
Fisichella, despite the consistent season he's put together, hasn't had a win yet.
And he's in the fight for the championship now. Only 15 points behind the third place finishing Webber. Thompson, P3 on 218, so 238 for Webber, 223 for Fisichella, Sophia Schneider on 206. The driver's title, it's still very early days to the decision. Ingram very happy with P8. That should make him the fastest, best of the privateers in this race, even though Dumas had that nailed on in race 1. Gasho across the line in last, but only because he's only a lap down. And last on track on the lap. I mean, this is a reverse 1-2 for Renault. The questions need to be asked again. You'd expect Renault to do well around tracks like this, and they're just not getting it.
No, absolutely not. I was quick correction on my part. That is Physical's second win, not his first. I'd
It
forgotten about
certainly
his
is.
Deep Forest win.
And then when we're talking about the works effort, the works manufacturer chat standings, 444 points for the BMW M Sport team, 396 for Honda, Alfa on 385, everyone else in the 200s. So it could be close to call in the next weekend. And then Swintech Racing leading the Privateer Team Championship with their solitary effort, and then the solitary effort of the DHL Rennsport team, perhaps getting that this weekend ahead of Tamiya, starting to fall back. So 118 for Swintech, 87 for DHL, 78 for Tamiya, and the 3M Performance, 61. That could be called for the next weekend. So a fairly, I mean, we've had another year's worth of world racing, and then amongst these European ones we're doing, that was a fairly quiet weekend, all things considered.
Yeah, especially given we're at a short track that's quite narrow that tends to promote a lot of action just purely from cars tripping over each other trying to get to a corner or trying to get through a corner. We saw some activity for sure. I think both me and Anthony are going to have to go and have words with Kazuki Ide a little bit later. But yeah,
As might the stewards.
on the whole, that is Brands Hatch has certainly seen more chaotic races. We'll put it that way.
And that ends another World Touring weekend. We'll expect to see another bunch of races next season. That's been pretty much confirmed as well. So with that good news in mind, on behalf of Michael Swinnerton, this is Adrian Michael Rees signing off once more. We'll see you soon. Good racing, everyone.